Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I don't want to keep folks for too long. If anybody else joins us, I'll just let them in the room and they can catch up. So welcome to another Workshop Wednesday. I'm Jennifer Slattery with the League of Cities and Towns. We are excited today to have our colleagues from RIPTA here to discuss the Safe Streets and Roads for All program. And the ins and outs of that program funding, etc. So I will turn it over to Christopher Durand right now, and I'll let you introduce yourself, Chris, and your team, and we'll get started. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jen. Chris Duran, I'm the CEO now of RIPTA, and I'm joined today with Steve Colantuano, our Chief Legal Counsel, and Julia Evelyn, who is the project manager on this effort for us. And I reached out to Jen mainly to just kind of offer up that we have been getting some feedback from different General Assembly members about this program and trying to understand kind of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how municipalities can access funding for making their streets safer. And this is a new program as part of the infrastructure law, and it's designed to get money into municipalities' hands. And so as such, DOTs were prohibited from applying for the money. And so the governor, in an effort to try to get as much resources to municipalities as possible, had asked RIPTA to apply to help coordinate the necessary plan that's needed to leverage these new federal funds. So there is to get implementation funding from this new program, you do have to have a plan in place to do so. And the US DOT puts forth a bunch of requirements around what that looks like. And so what we're doing is we received planning money from this program to help develop those plans for municipalities. So the goal is to get as many municipalities as quickly as possible eligible for implementation funding. And there is coordination with DOT, and there's the goal is to get us eligible here. And it is, again, it's a new program, so these are the requirements that we have to jump through. And I think it was good on the governor to kind of set this in motion to make sure that we can support the municipality. So I think it's kind of outside our normal realm just slightly, but I think it is something we've been supporting, and I think Julia's done an excellent job of working with everyone to keep things moving. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to Julia to give a quick update on just where we are and what this looks like and where we're headed.
Sure, yeah. Is it have a couple slides? I don't know if they're super helpful, but I'm happy to share them if that's useful. Okay, there we go. Let me just... All right, we can skip that one. So are you able to see my screen?
No.
Might need somebody to, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
There you go.
Perfect. All right. So yes, as Chris mentioned, this is a federal grant program. It has 5 years of dedicated funding from 2022 to 26. And RIPTA was in the first year of application. So we were in 2022, we received $5 million. And yeah, as Chris mentioned again, there's the planning and demonstration grant side and the implementation grant side. And for an implementation grant, a municipality or applicant will need a safety action plan. And so what our project is doing is developing individual safety action plans for each of those municipalities who are participating. Also noted at the bottom, so in FY25, the NOFO is expected to be released before the end of March. So our goal is to get plans in the hands of municipalities by that time, so that if they so desire, they can apply in the next year of funding. And then there's also one more year after that, so that there will be 2 opportunities. So the safety action plan basically identifies the most significant roadway safety concerns in a community, and then it identifies strategies and projects that will address those concerns. So what we've been doing over the past 6-8 months or so is a lot of community engagement. So for those on the call who are, participating communities, you're probably already aware of all this, but we've been going out into the communities, tabling at events, farmers markets, sports games, calamari fest, things like that. Anything that brings people together, touch a truck events, like things where you get a wide cross section of individuals in that community or from neighboring communities as well, and trying to understand what do the people in these towns feel is the most major safety concern about their roads. So we're taking all that information, and then we're also using crash data that we have acquired from DOT, who's been really helpful in partnering with us on this project. So we're kind of combining what the data analysis is telling us and what people are telling us about their lived experiences. So those are 2 really important elements of a SAP. Some other important elements of a SAP are like a leadership commitment. So if you're a participating community, you're probably we've been having regular meetings with you to set up a task force, to get buy-in from the mayor, buy-in from the town council, and that's all part of the safety action plan that DOT will want to see if and when you apply for implementation funding. They'll want to know that there is leadership buy-in and leadership commitment. There are several other elements of safety action plans, but I don't need to go through all of them right now. But one thing we've come across a lot is that some communities, actually a lot of communities, already have done a lot of this work, and they're working really hard. They already have a master plan or a complete streets plan. They've done parking studies, they've done safety studies, and so in some cases, some of these elements have already been completed, and so we're trying to use our funding for that community to fill in the gaps, to put all of these planning efforts together, and identify what pieces are still missing that will be required for a completed SAP, and use that funding to create a safety action plan that includes and ties in your complete streets plan and your safety analyses that you've already done. In terms of timeline, I talked a bit about what we've already done. So the community engagement basically occurred over the summer months, so June, July, August, September, and we eked into October a little bit. The data analysis was also happening over that time. And going forward, we're writing the safety action plans. We should have drafts of those in about January. So the purple kind of line is the one that you should be looking at for the municipal timeline. And then, as I mentioned, we're expecting to, get feedback on those and finalize those plans essentially by April of 2025, so that those towns that are ready to go and apply for implementation funding can do so. And, any towns that maybe need a little bit more time will still have the next year of funding. I can also note that you'll see this green line, which is kind of extending a little bit farther into June. We're also developing a statewide safety action plan. So that's basically pulling together pieces from all the municipal plans and providing a report, for the state to kind of link all the pieces of roadway safety that might be happening in this town or that town, but we know that accidents don't end at the town border, and so we want to make sure that those things work in coordination. So that's what that green section is. But that is a little bit of a longer timeline. We're really focused on getting the municipal plans out first. So, oops. I'm gonna stop sharing there. I'm happy to answer questions. I know I recognize a lot of names on this call, so I know a lot of you are already on top of this. But yeah, again, happy to answer questions, or feel free to reach out at any time if you have other thoughts.
Thank you, Julia.
I would just ask, if you don't mind, what are the kinds of solutions that could come out of this, just for someone who doesn't have this kind of background?
Yeah, so the safety action plans are going to combine sort of a variety of solutions. So there will be some that are going to be maybe lower cost, easier to implement, sort of widespread across the town. So maybe that's like brightening up every crosswalk, or every crosswalk in this neighborhood, or adding streetlights on 5 major roads, things like that. And then there's going to be kind of broad safety improvements like that. And then there might be a few locations where we know there have been a lot of crashes, or we've heard from the community there are a lot of near misses. And a solution there might be turning an intersection into a roundabout, or, instead of having a slip road teeing off an intersection, to make it safer for pedestrians. So things like that are going to involve a little bit more cost, more like concrete work, or rearranging the roadway. That would be like a larger cost, a larger project. So the plans will have a combination of both of those. And it really, honestly, it varies by town. The specifics of what that looked like. And also, varies by town based on what is currently there and also what the interest is of the town.
So once the planning grant phase is done and you gather all this data, what are the next steps beyond that?
So once we've basically completed the plans, we are handing them off to the municipalities. Part of this planning process, as I mentioned with the leadership commitment, is trying to not just give you a written document, but also kind of help to create the infrastructure in each town to move this forward. So there are, task forces that we're putting together in each town. And if the town decides to apply for implementation funding, that task force is positioned to help guide that project through the implementation funding and construction. But once we're completed with the safety action plan, RIPTA is taking a step back, and it's the municipality's responsibility to apply for funding if they wish.
Helpful. Hey, any questions from our people on the call here? All right. What we can do here at the League is certainly circulate this information more broadly. And in terms of, the recording, as well as any documentation or other information you'd like to get out, our RIPTA folks. So if there's anything I can do to share more information, please do send it along, and I will get it out to all our appropriate contacts and across the 39.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other words?
Yeah, that'll work. We can get those materials over, and appreciate the opportunity to for us to come in this morning and just talk about this program a little bit more. And if there's any questions, people should feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to help this through. But yeah, I appreciate the opportunity.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for being here. And yeah, I will share out all the information and contact information as well.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Thanks,
Have a great day.
Take care.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thank you.